battle sequences and stuff with the logistical nightmare of explosions and extras and soldiers and stunts and everything else. And it's just, I don't know. You don't know how you're going to do it, you know?
I think in order to really tell the story properly, you have to start with the fall of the angels, right?
Yeah.
Which is you're in another place. You're in another realm. You know, you need to go to hell. You need to go to Sheol.
Mel Gibson is out to shock the world again, and this time, none of us is prepared for it. His film The Passion of the Christ showed the final hours of Jesus in a way no one had ever seen before. It was bloody and raw. It made people cry, argue, and think. Now, after more than 2 decades, Mel is back with a sequel and the world is not sure what to expect. So many odds are stacked already. He's older, the audience is different, and the pressure is bigger than ever. Is this just another movie? Or is it Mel Gibson's final fight to keep his faith alive in a world that keeps telling him to sit down?
What I had to... It is such a massive undertaking that you can't do it lightly and you can't do it quickly. You have to really consider what it is that you need to show in order to be poignant. It can't be linear. You have to have many things to juxtapose against one another, even from different time periods, in order to illustrate what something means in a more full way. And I think it's going to be a real jigsaw puzzle to do. And I have 2 scripts.
Right.
And one of them is very structured and a very strong script.
In 2004, people walked out of theaters in silence. Some were crying, some were angry, but no one forgot what they saw. The Passion of the Christ wasn't just a film, it was an experience. It showed Jesus' final hours with brutal honesty. There was no soft music, no gentle scenes. It was violent, emotional, and deeply spiritual. And it made over $600 million at the box office, all while being told in Aramaic and Latin. That had never happened before. Mel Gibson didn't just tell a story. He made the audience feel the pain, the sacrifice, and the love of Jesus in a way that had never been done on screen. Some people said it was too much. Others said it was exactly what the world needed. But now, after 21 years, Mel wants to go even further. He's working on the sequel, and it's called Resurrection. This time, he's not just showing suffering. He wants to show the power and mystery of rising from the dead.
Worshipping false gods.
Yeah, that's number 1 on the Mosaic hit list. You know? Moses goes up on the mountain, he comes back down, people are worshiping a golden calf.
Yeah.
You know, it's that.
Yeah.
So you can't do that. And for me, that's a departure from that's called apostasy.
Right.
That's a falling away from it. And the very nature of apostasy means that you have to be part of it to fall away from it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an inside job.
Ah. So what do you think there's a motive behind these things?
I don't think probably.
What do you think it is?
I don't know. But it isn't good. I think we're looking at a world where and this is in the next film I'm going to do, I'm going to try and tackle this question. That there are big realms, spiritual realms.
But here's the hard part. How do you top something that already changed the world once? Can lightning really strike twice? Or is Mel taking a risk that could break the legacy he worked so hard to build? Before we look at cameras, actors, or budgets, we have to ask the bigger question. Can a film about resurrection shake people the way the crucifixion did? And what if it doesn't? That's where the story truly begins.
When Hacksaw Ridge came out and Bloodfather the same year, oh, that's a good film too. When they came out, you started doing interviews, started doing press interviews, and then you said, we're going to be bringing out The Resurrection, right? Yep. Now, that was 2016. Is it coming soon?
Yeah, sooner now, because what I had to... It is such a massive undertaking that you can't do it lightly and you can't do it quickly. You have to really consider what it is that you need to show in order to be poignant. It can't be linear. You have to have many things to juxtapose against one another, even from different time periods, in order to illustrate what something means in a more full way. And I think it's going to be a real jigsaw puzzle to do. And I have 2 scripts.
Right.
And one of them is very structured and a very strong script and kind of more what you'd expect. And the other is like an acid trip. And because you're going into other realms and stuff.
Okay.
I mean, you're in hell. You're in, it's like,
Is,
you're watching the angels fall.
Oh, wow.
It's like crazy.
Is
it's crazy.
Jim going to come back as Jesus?
Yeah, of course. Nobody else.
He's 17 years older. Does he? How does that work?
I don't know. It's going to be a Rip Van Winkle kind of thing, 3 days later, look, he's got wrinkles. You can fix that stuff now.
Yeah.
Mel Gibson's new movie isn't just a sequel, it's a huge swing. Titled Resurrection of the Christ, it's planned for release later in 2025. But this time, Mel's not just filming a crucifixion. He's telling the story of what happened after the tomb was sealed. That means showing the resurrection itself. One of the most mysterious and sacred moments in all of Christianity. But here's where things get tricky. This isn't just about Jesus walking out of the tomb. The film is rumored to show moments from heaven and hell, the spiritual battle between good and evil, and scenes that go far beyond what's in the Bible. Some call it bold, others call it dangerous. Critics are already lining up. They say the timing feels off. The world is too divided. Faith is too personal. And Gibson is the wrong man to lead this story. They question whether this film is a true spiritual reflection or just a Hollywood fantasy dressed up in Bible verses.
Pretty good about that.
Have you got any updates on a potential resurrection film?
Yeah. I'm working on that. That, of course, is very difficult. That's very difficult material because you're dealing with things that are hugely supernatural, and you have to do them in a way that's understandable and that you can relate and that people can relate to in a way that doesn't alienate them somehow. So that has to be approached with kid gloves, and it has to be done just right. What just right is, I'm not too sure of, but I'll get there eventually, and I might fail, but I'll give it a whack pretty quick. Yeah.
The tension keeps growing. How do you show something as holy as resurrection on a movie screen? Do you keep it quiet and mysterious? Or do you make it epic and loud? And then there's the biggest pressure of all, getting the theology right.
It's a massive thing, and theologically, it's something that you have to really look at and make correlations that ring true, because it's not all written.
Do you consult with someone like a biblical scholar?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Yeah. And of course, there's your own a thing that comes into it from having read the book a few times.
Mel knows he's not just telling a story. He's trying to show something millions of people deeply believe in. If he misses the mark, the backlash won't just be from critics, it'll come from believers too. So, will this film lift hearts or tear his legacy in half? Mel Gibson has always believed in doing things the hard way if it makes the story better. But this time, he's got a new kind of challenge, and it's all digital. Jim Caviezel, the actor who played Jesus in The Passion of the Christ, is back. But he's now 55 years old. In the new film, he needs to look like he did 20 years ago, which is a big ask.
When you're making this resurrection movie now, you also have this obligation. There's this. You're doing a very similar thing that you were doing with The Passion of the Christ, where this is a profound story.
Yes.
When you put something like that together, how do you choose who's going to be the next Jesus?
You use him again.
Caviezel.
Yeah, I know it's 20 years later.
Too.
It's 20 years later, but it's...
Yeah, but it's the right guy.
Yeah, but it's supposed to be 3 days later, but he got 20 years older. And I think I have to use a few techniques that they've started to get really good with
The CGI and
yeah.
they can do amazing things now.
You can actually get some of the same people.
To make it work, Mel and his team are using cutting-edge technology. They're scanning Jim's face in 3D. They're using artificial intelligence to map out every facial muscle. They're even using software called Chrono Sync to blend his current look with younger images. The goal is simple. Make it look real. No weird faces. No stiff movements. Nothing that pulls people out of the story. They want people to feel like they're seeing the real Jesus, not a digital copy. But the risk is high. If the effects don't work, even in just one scene, it could ruin everything. One strange shot, one creepy smile, and people won't be talking about the message. They'll be talking about how fake it looked.
It was a very difficult thing to find and synthesize because you have to understand, firstly, why it had to happen. And to understand something like that, you have to think, like, why is mankind so important in this process? Like, why are the big realms of good and evil slugging it out for the hearts, minds, and souls of mankind? Why us? I mean, we're just a bunch of, like, fucked up things. Skin puppets, right? You know?
Mel's spending nearly $40 million on visual effects alone. And it's not to make explosions or monsters. It's to make sure Jesus looks real. Because in this film, the audience isn't coming for CGI. They're coming for something spiritual and sacred. The question is, can Hollywood's tools serve heaven's message? Mel Gibson and Jim Caviezel are no strangers to controversy. Ever since The Passion of the Christ released in 2004, both have lived under a spotlight, one that doesn't always shine kindly. For Mel, the backlash started not just because of the film's intensity, but because of his personal actions. His past included angry outbursts, drinking issues, and public rants that led many to question if he could still be a voice for faith. Years later, some still haven't forgiven him.
The resurrection.
Yeah.
When does that start? Has it started?
Yeah, oh, the writing, yes. I know I asked him, would you be ready to go in January? He said, yeah, maybe. So how about the end of the fall? He goes, yeah, maybe. September? I said, yeah, maybe.
Jim Caviezel also faced storms. More recently, he's spoken in interviews that link him to political movements and conspiracy theories. Some of his words have raised eyebrows and created a new wave of headlines.
He's so funny because last time he did that, I said, okay, well, won't be till January, and then all of a sudden I get the call, hey, you ready? And we went in September, October. So who knows? I know he's working on that. Right now he's doing a movie with Wahlberg. So he's finishing that, but he's been on this for a long, long time. And then it will be the biggest film in history. It might be 2 films. Could be 3, but I think it's 2.
Now, both Jim and Mel are stepping back into the spotlight together. But the world they're walking into is even more divided than before. Some pastors and churches support them. They say Mel and Jim are imperfect men telling a perfect story. Others step back, unsure if these two still reflect the message they're trying to share. Back in 2004, The Passion of the Christ shocked people. Not just because it was bloody or brutal, but because it felt real. You didn't just watch the crucifixion. You felt it. The pain, the weight, the sorrow. And that's what made it powerful. Yet not without resistance. But now comes the hard part. Resurrection tells a different story. This one isn't about pain. It's about hope, mystery, and spiritual wonder. And that's harder to show on screen.
It's early days, you know. You got to figure out where to do it, how to do it, when to do it. You know, it's like there's no specific timeline on the thing, but it's definitely on my mind. And, you know, moving forward, it's a bit phlegmatic at the moment, but I think it'll pick up momentum as I get a clearer picture of what it is my task should be and will be.
I'm curious why you think this is a story that so many people feel compelled to kind of tell in their own way.
I think because it influenced history and nationhood and the world. So, of course, it should be looked at, and many people have different takes on what they think it was, or, you know, and then there's a more biblical take, and then there's somebody who, you know, off over there someplace, and I mean, you know, there's room for everybody to...
There's also talk that the film might include the harrowing of hell. a moment where Jesus descends into the underworld to free lost souls. It's a powerful Catholic tradition, but not all Christians believe in it. Some might feel left out. Others might feel confused. So now the challenge is bigger than just filming. It's about balance. Can Mel tell a story that captures the miracle of resurrection without making it feel like a fantasy? Can he honor different beliefs without watering down the message?
There's a lot required because it is, I'll just tell you this, it's an acid trip when we wrote it. It is like, I've never read anything like it. And my brother and I and Randall all sort of congregated on this. So there's some good heads put together, but there's some crazy stuff. And I think in order to really tell the story properly, you have to start with the fall of the angels, right?
Yeah.
Which is you're in another place. You're in another realm. You know, you need to go to hell. You need to go to Sheol.
So you're going to have hell, you're going to have Satan, all that?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Sure, you gotta have, yeah.
Right.
You gotta have his origin.
How do you depict that?
This is a good question. And I think I have ideas about how to do that. And ideas about how to evoke things and emotions in people from the way you depict it and the way you shoot it. So I've been thinking about it for a long time. So it's not going to be easy, and it's going to require a lot of planning. And I'm not wholly sure I can pull it off, to tell you the truth. It's really super ambitious. But I'll take a crack at it. Because that's what you got to do, right? Walk up to the plate, right? So I think I can get it. But it's not about me, you know?
Right.
It's about something else.
The faith-based film world has changed a lot since 2004. Back then, The Passion of the Christ shocked theaters and stunned Hollywood. But now, audiences are looking for something different. Shows like The Chosen and movies like Jesus Revolution have become favorites. They feel softer, warmer. They focus more on relationships, emotions, and quiet moments of faith. Instead of big battles or dramatic bloodshed, they offer gentle storytelling. And that's what many viewers seem to want right now. So will Mel Gibson's rough and intense style still work in 2025? Christian moviegoers today are younger. They've grown up with social media, YouTube, and streaming apps. They like deep dialogue, modern pacing, and relatable characters. And many churches that once bought entire theaters for The Passion aren't doing that anymore. Things have changed.
You know, 21 years later, what took so long? And the big thing that Mel Gibson is saying is that it took him 8 years to even write this script, that he has spent a ton of time. It's not just this simple project that's going to pick up where the last one left off. There's a lot to consider in this. And so the biggest news that he seemed to confirm this week is that this very likely will be 2 movies. So you're talking about a trio of films total, not just one movie, that he's not really able to get it all into one more film. So that is a pretty big undertaking, honestly.
Now Mel faces a stiff choice. Stick with his bold, dramatic vision or try to adapt. Because this new film is stepping into a very different world. A world that's already filled with Christian content. And the big question is, will it stand out or feel like it belongs to another time? Mel isn't just fighting to release a film. He's fighting to matter in a space that has quietly moved forward without him. Or has it?
Misty, 20 years later.
Oh, yeah, 20.
You are now turning to the resurrection.
That's it. Yeah, the resurrection now.
Where are we? Where are you?
I mean, it's kind of pre-production stage now, and we're definitely on it. It is my focus, and you know, it will happen. It's like childbirth. You know, it's like it's been 20 years, and it's like it was an idea I had, you know, to do the next part a long time ago, but it's been a very long labor.
Why do you think it's taken all this time?
Because it's supposed to.
This film isn't just another movie. It's Mel Gibson's biggest gamble. With a budget over $75 million, a complicated cast, new technology, and heavy spiritual themes, this might be the most ambitious Christian movie ever attempted. And yet, it carries more than money. It carries pressure, hope, controversy, and maybe even redemption. Some fans believe Mel's vision still has power. Others say his time is over. But one thing's clear: if Resurrection fails, it might shut the door for films this bold ever again. Studios are watching, critics are waiting, and believers are hoping. So now, all eyes are on this final chapter. Not just of Jesus' story, but of Gibson's legacy. Will it rise? Or will it fall? Are we about to witness a cinematic resurrection, or the quiet burial of a faith film legend? Kindly share your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more.